So let's start. Rule 120, judgment. So what is judgment? Under this rule, it provides the outline, the essential elements and requirements for a judgment in a criminal case. The judgment serves as the official decision of the court, determining whether the accused is guilty or not guilty, and imposing the penalties or civil liability as necessary. Now, let's move on to Section 1. Section 1, Judgment, Definition, and Form. So, judgment is the adjudication by the court that the accused is guilty or not guilty of the offense charged, and the imposition on him of the proper penalty and civil liability, if any. It must be written in the official language, personally and directly prepared by the judge, and signed by him, and shall contain clearly and distinctly a statement of facts and the law upon which is based. So judgment is the adjudication. So adjudication pertain to the decision of the court. So after filing of complaint, preliminary investigation, then magkakameron tayo ng information. After information, magkakameron ng arrest, then bail kung bailable yung kaso, then after ng bail, magkakameron tayo ng arraignment and plea, then after ng arraignment and plea, pre-trial, then trial, then last is the judgment. So, sinasabi dito na yung judgment daw must be an official formal declaration by the court confirming whether the accused is guilty or not guilty. It is essential na yung judgment natin is written, personally prepared, and signed by the judge. Kasi this ensures accountability, transparency, and that the judge reasoning is clear. So, kaya kailangan siya is written and personally prepared and signed by the judge. So, the requirement for judgment to be clearly stated in writing and based on the facts and law ensures that justice is fair and understandable. It helps both the accused and the public to understand how the decision was reached. So, ang requisite na dapat tatandaan nyo sa judgment, it must be formal and jurisdictional. Under the formal requisite, it must be written in the official language. So, paano ba yung official language, ma'am? Pilipino po ba or English? So, dito sa Pilipinas kasi, ang pinapalo natin is more on English yung sa judgment na nakalagay. Then, it must be personally and directly prepared and signed by the judge. Next, it must contain a clearly and distinctly a statement of facts and the law upon which it is based. So, under jurisdictional, syempre, kung sino yung court na may jurisdiction over the case, so siya may karapatan magbigay ng judgment dun sa case na yon. So, dapat, in terms of jurisdictional, meron tayong jurisdiction over the subject matter, jurisdiction over the territory, and jurisdiction over the person of the accused. Then, ano pa dapat ang malaman nyo dito? Halimbawa, once submitted for decision or resolution na yung case, a case must be decided or resolved within 24 months from the date of submission for the Supreme Court unless yung Supreme Court nag-provide siya ng other days or months kung kailan dapat i-resolve. Ngayon, nakalagay dati 12 months for all lower collegiate court and then 3 months for other lower court. However, this period had been modified with respect to the lower court. The general rule is the resolution must be made within 90 days from the submission for decision. Gaya nung sabi ko last time dun sa ating trial, merong exception dun sa 90 days na pagbibigay ng judgment or decision. Ano yung exemption na yon? Yung mga meron tayong mga Supreme Court circular or special penal laws na nagpo-provide na dapat within that day or within that week or within that month, dapat nakapag-render na tayo ng decision. So, halimbawa, sa drug cases, di ba, 15 days from submission of case for resolution. Sa environmental case, 60 days from the last day to file the memoranda. Then, yung sa intellectual property right case natin, 90 days siya from submission of the case for decision. Tapos, sa criminal proceeding covered by summary procedure, 30 days from termination of hearing. Ang nire-require ng court na makapagbigay ng judgment or decision. So, ang pinaka-fundamental requirements kasi natin, according to the Constitution, it commands that no decision shall be rendered by any court without expressing therein the clearly and distinctly the facts and the law on which it is based. No petition for review or motion for reconsideration of a decision of the court shall be refused, due course, or denied without stating the basis therefore. So, consistent sa constitutional mandate natin, yung Section 1 of Rule 120 of the Rules of Court provides that the judgment, which are decisions containing the adjudication by the court whether the accused is guilty or not guilty of the offense charged, and the imposition of him of the proper penalty and civil liability, if any, must be in writing. And kagaya na sabi ko kanina, made in the official language, then personally and directly prepared by the judge and signed by him. And it shall contain the clearly and distinctly statement of the facts and the law upon it is based. So, according kasi sa Administrative Circular Number 1, issued on January 28, 1998, it prompts that all judges to make a complete finding of facts in their decision and scrutinize closely the legal aspect of the case. In the light of the evidence presented, they should avoid the tendency to generalize and form a conclusion without detailing the facts from which such conclusion are deduced. Kaya kailangan yung decision natin is clear and distinctly stated the facts and the law kung saan natin binase yung ating decision. So, in general, the essential parts of decisions are the statement of the case, statement of the facts, issues or assignments of errors, court ruling in which the issue is as a rule separately considered and resolved, and finally, yung dispositive portion. So, ano yung dispositive portion? Yung dispositive portion of judgment, ito yung tumutukoy sa part of the court decision that specifically outlines the final ruling or disposition of the case. Ito yung part ng judgment kung saan makikita natin yung court pronounces its conclusion and order such as the guilt or innocence of the accused, yung penalty imposed, yung civil liabilities to be paid if any. So, in essence, yung dispositive portion, ito yung nagpo-provide sa atin ng practical outcome ng ating kaso. So, makikita nyo sa dispositive portion is yung decision on the guilt or innocence, imposition ng penalties, whether the accused is found guilty, it includes the penalty or sentence imposed by the court such as imprisonment, fines, and other forms of punishments. Then yung civil liability, if applicable, makikita din doon, and any orders of relief, yung halimbawa, kung nakalagay dun sa order, may pwedeng mag-probation or pwede siyang mag-parole or suspension of sentence and other remedies. So, Hanap lang ako ng example na may depositive portion. Here. Halimbawa, in criminal cases, the accused is convicted of theft. So, mababasa nyo doon is, the accused is found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of theft and is sentenced to imprisonment for 5 years. The accused is ordered to pay 50,000 pesos in civil damages to the offended party. So, ano yung importance ng depositive portion? It clearly sets forth the court decision and directs the necessary action that need to be followed. So, typically, the portion that is reference when the case is appealed, dito nagbabase kung i-appeal yung kaso as it reflects the conclusion that the parties are contesting. So, sa depositive portion is the final actionable decision in the judgment that dictates the consequence of the court's finding. Then, halimbawa, meron tayong lack of stenographic notes. Dapat si judge, kahit meron tayong lack of stenographic note, si judge who conducted the trial and heard the testimony of some or all of the witnesses shall not defer the submission of the case for decision on the ground of incomplete or missing transcript of stereographic note. If the case was heard completely by another judge, not the judge tasked to write the decision, the latter shall direct the stenographers concerned to submit the complete transcript within the period of 30 calendar day from the date of his or her assumption to the office. So, meron po ba tayong verbal judgment? So, verbal judgment is not allowed because it is incomplete and invalid as it does not contain the findings of fact and it is not signed by the judge. The infirmity, however, may be corrected by subsequent full-blown judgment. So, ano po yung magiging remedy natin if the judgment is not put into writing? So, ngayon, pwede tayo mag-file ng petition for mandamus to compel the judge to put in writing the decision of the court. So, meron tayong tinatawag na ratio decidendi. So, anong pinagkaiba ni ratio decidendi sa judgment? Sa judgment, it pronounces the disposition of the case. While dun sa ratio decidendi, it provides the basis for reason for such determination. So, necessary po ba yung judge na who tried the case be the same judicial officer to decide it? So, ang sagot doon is no. Hindi naman kailangan na yung trial judge who rendered the judgment was not the one who had the occasion to observe the demeanor of the witnesses during trial, but merely relied on the records of the case. So, it does not render the judgment erroneous, especially where the evidence on record is sufficient to support its conclusion. So, meron tayong tinatawag na promulgation of judgment. Dito, sa promulgation of judgment, it is not final. Pwede ka pang mag-appeal. So, dito, babasahin pa lang sa'yo kung guilty ka or hindi dun sa kasong kinakaso sa'yo. Then, susunod na doon, after the period of perfecting an appeal, dun pa lang magiging final and executory yung judgment. So, it's either acquitted or kulong ka. So, dito, bago tayo magkamero ng judgment, dapat, meron kasi tayong hinihingi in different aspect of law na quantum of proof. or amount of evidence. Pag sa criminal case, dapat meron tayong proof beyond reasonable doubt. So, ang hinihingi lang naman doon is moral certainty. Then, sunod doon yung clear and convincing evidence. Nasa pagitan lang siya ng preponderance of evidence and proof beyond reasonable doubt. So, sunod dun sa clear and convincing is the preponderance of evidence. Ito yung sa civil cases na hinihingi natin na quantum of proof. Then, lastly is, pinakabababa is substantial evidence na nire-required sa administrative cases. Next, section 2. Contents of judgment. If the judgment is of conviction, it shall state the legal qualification of the offense constituted by the acts committed by the accused and the aggravating or mitigating circumstances which attended its commission. Then yung participation of the accused in the offense, whether as principal, accomplice, or accessory, then the penalty imposed upon the accused, then yung civil liability or damages caused by his wrongful act or omission to be recovered from the accused by the offended party, if there is any, unless the enforcement of civil liability by a separate civil action has been reserved or waived. In the case the judgment is of acquittal, it shall state whether the evidence of the prosecution absolutely failed to prove the guilt of the accused or merely failed to prove his guilt beyond reasonable doubt. In either case, the judgment shall determine if the act or omission from which the civil liability might arise did not exist. So, ano ibig sabihin nito? Pag ang ating judgment is for conviction, dapat it must state the legal qualification of the offense constituted by the acts committed by the accused and the aggravating or mitigating circumstances which attended its commission. So, first is yung legal qualification. Halimbawa, the offense committed must clearly defined along with any aggravating circumstances or mitigating. Next is yung participation ng accused natin. The court must specify whether the accused was a principal, yung direct perpetrator, kung accomplish lang siya, or nag-aid dun sa crime, or accessory assisting the yung perpetrator after the crime. So, next is yung penalty imposed. The punishment or penalty is laid out in the judgment, which ensure justice in terms of appropriate punishment based on the offense committed. Then lastly, diba, under Article 100, wait lang. So, nasa na tayo? Yan. Penalty imposed, yung punishment na halimbawa sa for theft, ang imprisonment niya is 5 years. Then, lastly, yung civil liability, if the crime caused damages, the judgment outlines the civil liability directing the accused to compensate the victim. This provide restitution alongside with the punishment. Diba, under nga ng Article 100 natin sa RPC, every person criminally liable for felony is also civilly liable. Then, ano naman yung magiging contents if the judgment is for acquittal? So, whether the evidence of the prosecution absolutely failed to prove the guilt of the accused or merely failed to prove his guilt beyond reasonable doubt, dapat i-state natin dun sa judgment natin kung bakit hindi siya guilty. Then, in either case, the judgment shall determine if the act or omission from which the civil liability might arise did not exist. So, yung judgment of acquittal is considered final and executory. Means, there can be no appeal in judgment of acquittal no matter how erroneous it is. To rule otherwise will place the accused in double jeopardy. So, ang judgment of conviction, appealable siya. Pero, ang judgment of acquittal, hindi na siya pwedeng i-appeal. Generally, ang pwedeng mag-appeal is si accused at saka si offended party. Pero si offended party, halimbawa, pwede lang siya mag-appeal for civil damages. Yun lang yung pwede niyang i-appeal. Pero halimbawa, regarding dun sa kanyang criminal liability, hindi na siya pwedeng mag-appeal. Kasi ang judgment of acquittal nga is not appealable. So, ano yung ibig sabihin ng final order? Final order, ito yung order which disposes of the whole subject matter or terminates a particular issue, leaving nothing to be done but to enforce by execution what has been determined. Example, order of the court denying the MFR. Then, bukod sa final order, may tinatawag din kasi tayong interlocutory order. So, ano yon? Ito yung order which does not dispose a case completely but leaves something more to be done on the merits. So, order of the courts denying MTQ. In this case, the aggrieved party can question the interlocutory order through extraordinary remedy of certiorari under Rule 65. So, judgment of acquittal must clarify if the prosecution failed to prove the guilt of the accused, either absolutely, no crime occurred, or beyond reasonable doubt. This maintains fairness as the accused cannot be convicted without sufficient proof. Then, it also addresses the possibility of civil liability even if the criminal charge is dismissed. If the act of the accused did not result in civil liability, it must be clearly stated then sa ating judgment. So, ano pa? Meron bang civil liability in judgment of acquittal? Kailan tayo magkakameron ng civil liability in judgment of acquittal? First is, the acquittal is based on reasonable doubt. Tapos, yung decision contains declaration that the liability of the accused is not criminal but only civil. Then, the civil liability is not derived from or based on the criminal act of which the accused is acquitted. For this reason, it requires a separate civil action since the facts to be proved in civil case have already been established in the criminal proceeding where the accused was acquitted. Kailangan to kasi kung hindi natin to susundin, mababiolate natin yung due process ng akusado. So, civil liability arising from crimes, pakatandaan ang AMEA. It must be actual, it must be included like expectancy and loss of earning capacity. Ito kasi yung pwede nating ma-recover. First, AMEA, pakitanda ng AMEA, actual, moral, it must be separate from actual damages and should not be lumped into the whole amount. Then, exemplary, when there is no aggravating, no award of exemplary damages can be given. Halimbawa, it may be allowed despite of lack of aggravating circumstances kung yung court na-find na the facts of the case shows highly representable or outrageous conduct of the offender. Then, yung A, another A is attorney's fees. Only when a separate civil action to recover the civil liability has been filed or when the exemplary damages are awarded. So, dapat yung judgment natin kung magbibigay tayo is based sa reasonable doubt na in that which after a full consideration of all evidence leaves the mind of the judge in such condition that he cannot say that he feels an abiding conviction to moral certainty of the truth of the charge. Then, acquittal is a finding of not guilty based on merits. Evidence fails to show beyond reasonable doubt that the accused is guilty. So, pakitandaan, it's not subjected to review without putting the accused in double jeopardy. Yun, yung judgment of acquittal does not carry the extinction of the penal action does not carry with it the extinction of civil liability unless yung extinction nga natin proceeds from a declaration in a final judgment that the facts from which the civil might arise did not exist. Then, kinds of acquittal. Sa ating bansa kasi, we recognize two kinds of acquittal. First is an acquittal on the ground that the accused is not the author of the act or omission complained of. That is, the prosecution's evidence absolutely failed to prove the guilt of the accused. The second one is an acquittal based on reasonable doubt on the guilt of the accused. So, ano yung pinagkaiba nito? The distinction between the two types of acquittal described in the law is significant in understanding how civil liability is handled in the context of criminal cases. Sa legal system kasi natin, acquittal occurs when a court finds that the accused is not guilty of the criminal offense charge. However, yung acquittal does not always absolve. Ito yung lagi sinasabi ko pa kanina pa na it does not absolve the accused from civil liability for the acts or omission that led to the criminal charges. The law recognizes nga the two types of acquittal. Yung first is acquittal based on lack of guilt or no criminal act or omission committed. In this scenario kasi, the accused is acquitted because the court determines that they are not the perpetrator of the act or the omission alleged in the charge. This type of acquittal means the prosecution's evidence was insufficient to establish the accused's guilt beyond reasonable doubt. In other words, sa pinakamadaling paraan, the accused did not commit the act that is the subject of criminal charge. So, paano siya nakaka-apekto sa civil liability? No civil liability for the criminal act. Since the accused is found not guilty and not the author of the act or omission in question, they cannot be held liable for it. In legal terms, no delict. Wala kang ginawang mali. Then, ngayon, si accused, wala din tayong basis for his or her civil liability or ex delicto. Yung civil liability arising from the criminal act. Pero, pwede pa rin maghabol doon si offended party kung magkakameron ng independent civil action or other sources of obligation. Yung acquittal na nangyari does not automatically absolve the accused from all potential liability. Gaya na sabi ko, kung merong independent civil action, halimbawa arising from a contract or legal obligation, or if the claim for the civil liability is based on other sources of obligations, halimbawa yung negligence or contractual breach, the civil case can still proceed. The acquittal in the criminal case does not bar the injured party from seeking damages in a separate civil suit, provided na yung civil liability is not directly tied to the criminal offense. Halimbawa, imagine natin, may isang tao accused for assaulting another individual, but the court acquits them on the ground na yung prosecution evidence was insufficient to prove that they committed the assault. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya yung, masasabi natin, siya yung perpetrator. In this case, the acquitted person is not liable for civil damages like yung medical expenses, pain, and suffering as arising from the assault because they were found not have committed the act. However, halimbawa, si injured party seeks compensation based on another legal ground. Halimbawa, kaya pala siya nabugbog kasi naniningil siya, ganun-ganan. Meron palang breach of contract or negligence. Doon, pwede pa siyang mag-claim ng civil damages pursued in a separate civil action. So, yung pangalawa is acquittal based on reasonable doubt or uncertainty about guilt. In this type of acquittal, si accused is acquitted because the court finds the evidence insufficient to establish guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Means, court is not convinced to the required degree that the accused committed the offense, but the evidence presented did not fully absolve the accused either. The doubt remains about the accused's guilt, but the doubt is enough for the court to decide in favor of the accused. So, ano naman epekto niya sa civil liability? In this case, even though the accused is acquitted of the criminal charges due to the reasonable doubt, they are not automatically also exempt from civil liability because yung civil liability dun sa cases does not require the same standard of proof. Diba? Ang sabi ko kanina, ang standard ng proof for civil liability is preponderance of evidence lang. Yung preponderance of evidence is standard proof siya for civil cases, which means that the injured party can still seek civil damages if they can show by a greater weight of evidence that the accused is liable for the harm or injury caused by their action or omission. So, dito, yung civil case can proceed based on the preponderance of evidence. So, example, suppose yung person is accused negligently causing a car accident. Ngayon, si court acquits the accused based on reasonable doubt, meaning the court could not be sure that the accused was at fault, but it also does not prove na they were completely innocent. Even though the person was acquitted in criminal cases, the victim of the accident can still file for a civil lawsuit for damages, like yung compensation ng medical bills, lost wages, if they can prove by preponderance of evidence that the accused was negligent and caused the accident. Yung civil court will only require a balance of probabilities that the accused was responsible rather than the certainty beyond a reasonable doubt. So, ano yung pinaka-essence ng provision na to, ng section to na to, sa ating justice? This provision kasi emphasizes fairness and transparency. Kaya, madami siyang hinihinging requirements na contents ng ating judgment. And through the reasoning in judicial decision, the public and the parties involved must have a clear and detailed explanation of why the decision was made. So, yung judgment natin, not only ensure criminal justice by determining the guilt or innocence of the accused, but also ensure the civil liability by addressing any harm caused by the crime. Next, section 2 or more offenses. Excuse me. When 2 or more offenses are charged in a single complaint or information but the accused fails to object to it before trial, The court may convict him of as many offenses as are charged and proved and impose on him the penalty for each offense, setting out separately the findings of facts or law in each offenses. 'Di ba? Dun sa ating motion to quash, 'di ba, sinasabi natin dapat um, no duplicity of offenses. So, dapat one information, one offense. So, halimbawa, hindi mo yon in-erase. 'Di ba? Sabi ko nung last time, kung hindi ka magre-erase before you enter your plea of guilty or not guilty, winave mo na yung rights mo for that. Ang magiging ano na lang nun, consequence is, yung two offense will be tried jointly, but dun sa judgment niya, dapat hiwalay siya ng portion. So, separate yung findings of facts and law in each offenses. So, this section addresses the situation kasi where defendants is charged with multiple offenses with a single complaint or information. Kasi yung gaya nga yung sinasabi ko kanina, if the accused does not object before the trial to being charged with multiple offenses in the same court, the court is allowed to convict the defendant for each those offenses separately if the evidence proves that the offenses occur. Then, yun lang, magkakameron lang tayo ng separate findings. Yung judgment natin must detail the findings of fact and law for each individual offenses to ensure that each charge is handled distinctly and appropriately. So, please note that yung sa ating threefold length rule, yung maximum duration of court sentence cannot be more than threefold length of time corresponding the most severe of penalties imposed upon the accused. Yung maximum penalty dapat natin, kung meron mang ganito, is dapat hindi siya mag-exceed ng 40 years. So, this provision ensures that a defendant can be convicted for each offense for which there is a sufficient proof, that i-maintain pa rin natin yung clarity and fairness, giving detailed justification for each separate crime committed, but also streamlining the process when multiple charges are involved. So, next. Ito kasing section 4 is in relation siya sa section 5. So, balik muna tayo sa section 4. So, this section deals with situation where the offense that the prosecution has alleged in the complaint or information differs slightly from the offense proven in the court. So, meron tayong variance. So, ano yung variance na sinasabi? Yung variance na yun occurs when the offense alleged in the complaint does not exactly match the offense that is proved during the trial. However, yung batas natin sa ating justice system, it allows for the accused to be convicted a relative offense if it is included in or sub-included by the charge that was originally filed. Halimbawa, ng conviction of an included offense. Halimbawa, if the crime proven is less severe or different but included in the offense charge, the defendant can be convicted for that included offense instead. Alternatively, if the charge proved a border offenses, the defendant could still be convicted of the offense charge even if it is border than the actual facts. Example, a defendant is charged with a murder, a more serious offense, but the evidence presented in court only support a conviction for manslaughter, which is a less severe offense. In this case, the defendant may still be convicted of manslaughter as it is considered a lesser included offense of murder. Kasi, 'di ba, hindi ka naman makakapatay kung hindi mo siya sasaktan. Yung like, magkakameron ng assault. So, kung ang na-prove lang during trial is nambugbog ka lang, pero ang kaso may murder, syempre, ang pangungulungan mo lang is dun sa napatunayan. So, another one, a defendant is charged with theft, but the evidence shows that only unauthorized use of property yung nangyari, which is a different crime dun sa naka-charge sa'yo. Ngayon, si defendant could still be convicted of unauthorized use of property if the courts found it is sufficiently related. So, yun yung sinasabing variance. The general rule kasi dito, an accused can be convicted of an offense only when it is both charged and proved. Kung ano yung nakalagay sa information at kung ano yung napatunayan, yun, dun ka lang pwedeng ikulong or magkameron ng judgment of conviction. If it is not charged, although proved, or if it is not proved, although charged, the accused cannot be convicted thereof. So, anong exception dito sa general rule na to? When there's a variance between the offense charged in the complaint or information and that proved and the offense as charged is included or necessarily includes the offense proved which is included in the offense charge or of the offense charge which is included the offense proved. Yun yung exception to the general rule. So, what if the lesser offense that convicts the accused has prescribed at the time of the information is filed? Ngayon, si accused cannot be convicted of such. To do so would sanction the circumvention of law on prescription by simple expedient of accusing the defendant of the graver offense. So, let's provide another example. Meron kasi siyang two types. Halimbawa, una, ang nasa info ay rape. Tapos, ang napatunayan during trial is wala namang rape, pero meron siyang carnal knowledge. Napatunayan pala during trial na wala naman carnal knowledge. Then, magiging act of lasciviousness lang siya. So, dito kasi, yung acts of lasciviousness is pasok or isa din siya sa elements of rape. So, kung hindi mapapatunayan yung rape, baba tayo sa lesser offense. Halimbawa, yung isa naman, baliktad. Halimbawa sa information na nakalagay lang ay acts of lasciviousness. Tapos, napatunayan na may rape pala. So, pwede ba doon ikaso ang rape? Doon ba siya mapapangulong? So, dito, hindi na pwede na rape kasi hindi naman makikita sa act of lasciviousness ang elements of rape. Kaya, mahalaga na naka-indicate talaga sa information lahat ng facts. Tapos, Section 5, ito yung sinasabi ko na in relation with Section 4, an offense charge necessarily includes the offense proved when some of the essential elements or ingredients of the former as alleged in the complaint or information constitute the latter. And an offense charge is necessarily included in the offense proved when the essential ingredients of the former constitute or form part of those constituting the latter. Ito yung kanina ko pa ina-explain na halimbawa dun sa sinabi kong rape. So, general rule dito, if it is proved by the prosecution evidence, is an offense which is included in the offense charge in the information, the accused may validly be convicted of the offense proved. An offense charge necessarily includes the offense proved when some of the essential elements or ingredients of the former as alleged in the complaint or information constitutes the latter. Yun yung sinasabi ko kanina sa rape na ang charge sa'yo ay rape, then, di ba, ang rape, meron din naman siyang acts of lasciviousness. So, kung ang napatunayan lang is, hindi napatunayan yung rape, so, at ang napatunayan ay acts of lasciviousness lang, ang ikakaso lang sa'yo is acts of lasciviousness. So, there's an exception where facts supervene after filing of information which charge the nature of the offense. Example, theft in robbery, robbery in brigandage, slight, less serious, and serious physical injury in attempted homicide, estafa in malversation, illegal detention in forcible abduction, serious physical injury in not in prostrated homicide because yung mortal wounds na kailangan doon negate the minor injuries only. So, yung slight and less serious and serious physical injuries in homicide cases, dapat which involves the death of the victim, then rape not in qualified seduction, then consented abduction not in seduction, then yung illegal possession in illegal sale. Na yung former is essential element or pwede siyang mapatunayan dun sa latter charge. Next is ang pinaka main point kasi ng Section 5 and Section 4 ini-ensure kasi niya yung flexibility and fairness in the criminal justice system, allowing for a conviction based on the crime proven rather than solely on the charge file, as long as the crime is included within the charge. It helps to ensure justice is served in cases where the exact charge may not entirely match the facts of the case, but it still allows the defendant to be convicted for the crime they actually committed. Inaalaw kasi ito ng court to prevent miscarriage of justice where the exact charge different from the proof presented. So, yun. So, Section 6, promulgation of judgment. The judgment is promulgated by reading it in the presence of the accused and any judge of the court in which it was rendered. However, if the conviction is for light offenses, the judgment may be pronounced in the presence of his counsel or representative. When the judge is absent or outside the province or city, the judgment may be promulgated by the clerk of court. If the accused is confined or detained in another province or city, the judgment may be promulgated by the executive judge of the regional trial court having jurisdiction over the place of confinement or detention upon the request of the court which rendered the judgment. The court promulgating the judgment shall have the authority to accept the notice of appeal and to approve the bail bond pending appeal, provided na yung decision of the trial court convicting the accused change the nature of the offense from non-bailable to bailable offenses. Yung application natin dito for bail can only be filed and resolved by the appellate court. So, si clerk of court, dapat mag-give siya ng notice to the accused personally or through his bondsman or warden and counsel, requiring him to be present at the promulgation of decision. If the accused was tried in absentia because he jumped bail or escaped from prison, the notice to him shall be served at his last known address. In case the accused fails to appear at the scheduled date of promulgation of judgment, despite notice, the promulgation shall be made by recording the judgment in a criminal docket and serving him a copy thereof at his last known address or through his counsel. If the judgment is for conviction and the failure of the accused to appear without justifiable cause, malulus niya yung lahat ng remedies available in this rule against the judgment and the court shall order his arrest. Pero, within 15 days from the promulgation of judgment, the accused may surrender and file a motion for leave of court to avail these remedies. Pero, dapat he shall state the reasons for his absence at the scheduled promulgation. If ito'y approved that his absence was for a justifiable cause, he shall be allowed to avail of said remedies within 15 days from notice. So, ano yung sinasabi dito sa section 6? Yung promulgation of judgment natin is the formal announcement or proclamation of the court's decision. This section outlines the procedure for how the judgment should be made known to the accused and how it is officially recorded. First is reading the judgment in the presence of the accused. Si judge must read aloud to the accused and the judge in the court. However, for kung light offenses lang naman, yung judgment can be pronounced in the presence of defendant's counsel or representative instead dun sa dependent natin. So, halimbawa, absent naman po si judge. The judgment can be promulgated by the clerk of court or executive judge if the accused is detained in another location. So, ngayon, ang kailangan lang natin doon is notification and attendance. Si clerk of court, responsible siya for notifying the accused at saka yung representative niya, halimbawa si counsel, si bondsman, or si warden kung saan nakakulong si accused about the date of promulgation of judgment. Pero, if si accused ngayon is not present, the judgment will be recorded. Kasi kailangan pa rin matuloy yung proclamation or promulgation ng judgment natin. Ang mangyayari lang doon, yung judgment natin will be recorded in criminal docket, tapos a copy of the accused na copy ng judgment natin will be sent to the accused last known address. So, personal presence of the accused is mandatory. Ang exception lang doon is kung for light offenses. So, the complete decision must be promulgated. Pag halimbawa, ang binasa lang sa iyo yung depositive portion, yung kagayang wherefore as Juan de la Cruz is guilty beyond reasonable doubt for the crime of blah 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 and must pay a fine of ganto ganan. The decision to the accused is not sufficient. It is the judgment that must be read to him, stating the facts and the law on which such judgment is based. Tapos, notification and attendance, nasabi ko na. So, what if meron tayong failure to appear. If the accused does not appear for the promulgation without justifiable cause, they lost the right to challenge or appeal the judgment. However, the accused can still surrender within 15 days, pakitandaan yung days, after promulgation to file a motion to appeal if they can show that their absence was due to justifiable reason. So, ano ba yung sinasabi nating mga remedies? Like, after kasi ng judgment, meron tayong 15 reglementary period to file an appeal, to file a new motion for a new trial, motion for reconsideration. Ayun, yung pwede nating i-avail na remedies. Pero kung ikaw not present ka during the promulgation of judgment, malolos mo na yung rights mong ito. Pero, pwede mo pa rin naman siyang i-avail within 15 days na after promulgation ng judgment mo is nagpasa ka ng motion stating that your absence was due to justifiable reason. So, ano naman yung mangyayari kung yung failure to appear mo is without valid reason? Ngayon, si court, pwede na siyang mag-issue ng order to arrest you. So, dito, related siya sa promulgation in absentia. Diba? May trial in absentia tayo. So, meron din tayong promulgation in absentia. It refers to the formal process of declaring a court's judgment when the accused is not present. Ini-ensure kasi nito na that the accused absent, even though the accused is absent, he is duly notified na magkakameron tayo ng promulgation of judgment that day. Ang nire-required lang talaga natin is the two elements for valid promulgation. First is dapat naka-record siya in criminal docket. The judgment must be officially recorded in criminal docket, which is the official court record. Kasi this step serves as the formal notification of judgment, ensuring na yung korte has made an official record of the judgment. Then, serving a copy to the accused or counsel, dapat after the promulgation, magsasend tayo ng copy of judgment dun sa accused or sa counsel niya at the last known address para ma-ensure natin na si accused is directly notified dun sa judgment. If the accused whereabouts are unknown or halimbawa fugitive, the act of recording the judgment in criminal docket is considered sufficient notice, meaning si accused is deemed to be notified once the judgment is recorded. However, the accused may be arrested if they fail to appear without valid reason. So, ano pa dapat yung malaman? Ito, ano yung sinasabing act of surrender? So, yung mere filing of notice of appeal through counsel, therein only explaining your absence during the promulgation of judgment, hindi siya mako-consider as an act of surrender despite the fact that notices were filed within 15 days from the date of promulgation of judgment. So, ano ba yung sinasabi nating surrender under Section 6, Rule 120 ng Rules of Court natin? It contemplates that an act whereby a convicted accused physically and voluntarily dapat submit himself to the jurisdiction of the court to suffer the consequences of the verdict against him. So, yung filing of notice of appeal cannot suffice as physical and voluntary submission of the petitioner to the regional trial court jurisdiction. Kasi dapat it is only upon the accused's valid surrender and only after proper motion that they can avail of the remedy of the appeal. So, absent compliance with this requirement, their notice of appeal, the initiatory step to appeal from their conviction, were not properly denied due course. Sorry kung medyo maingay. Then, schedule for promulgation. The court shall announce in an open court and include in the order submitting the case for decision the date of promulgation of its decision, which shall not be more than 90 days calendar day from the date the case is submitted for decision, except kung ang case is covered by special rules and other law which provide for a shorter period. Then, So, alam niyo na to, yung how is judgment is promulgated, dapat by reading in the presence of the accused or any judge. Then, if the conviction is for light offense, the judgment may be pronounced in the presence of his counsel or representative. Then, pag naman si judge is absent or outside the province, yung judgment may be promulgated by the clerk of court. So, rules on validity of promulgation of judgment. The judgment had been rendered and promulgated during the incumbency of the judge who signed it. Dapat sa presence of counsel. Hindi naman necessary na during your promulgation of judgment is present yung counsel nyo. Then, the judgment must be read in its entirety for double jeopardy to attach. So, sinong pwedeng promulgate ng judgment? Pwede si judge ng court which it was rendered, si clerk of court in the absence of the judge who rendered the judgment, or si executive judge of the RTC having jurisdiction over the place of confinement or detention when si accused is confined or detained and upon the request of the judge who renders the judgment. So, halimbawa, meron tayong permanent and temporary vacancy. Pag temporary, yung judgment written by the said judge can still be used even if the judge is absent. If permanent, the judge written by the said judge cannot be promulgated if he is absent. So, magkakameron tayong demotion, promotion, death, or retirement. Then, so, alam nyo na din naman tong promulgation in absentia. Then, kailan, where are two instances where a judgment may be promulgated without the personal presence of the accused. First is for light offenses. Second, in cases where despite due notice the accused or his bandsman or warden and counsel, the accused failed to appear at the promulgation. Ito yung promulgation in absentia. Pakitandaan din, kung ang judgment is for acquittal, yung present ng accused natin is not necessary. So, next na tayo. Modification of judgment. A judgment of conviction may, upon a motion of the accused, be modified or set aside before it becomes final or before appeal is perfected. Except where the death penalty is imposed, a judgment becomes final after the lapse of the period for perfecting an appeal. So, 15 days to usually, or when the sentence has been partially or totally satisfied or served, or when the accused has waived in writing his right to appeal or has applied for probation. So, let's discuss Section 7. This section outlines the circumstances under which judgment of conviction can be modified or set aside before it becomes final. So, ano yung pinagkaiba niya sa modification of judgment sa new trial? Si modification of judgment, no new hearing or proceeding or of any kind or change in the record or evidence. A simple modification is made on the basis of what is on record. Pag kasi sa new trial, irregularities are expunged from the record or new evidence is introduced. So, yung motion for modification or set aside, the accused can file for a motion to modify or set aside the judgment before it becomes final. This can happen if there are reasons to believe that the judgment was incorrect or unfair. So, ano ba yung condition natin For finality of judgment. First, a judgment of conviction becomes a final under several conditions. So, pakilista, first, after the period for appeal expired. Halimbawa, if no appeal is filed, automatic, yung judgment natin is becomes final. Next is when the sentence is satisfied or served. Halimbawa, the defendant has already contemplated or completed the prison sentence. Then number 3, when the accused waived their right to appeal in writing. Dapat yung appeal in writing lang. When the accused applies for probation. So, ikaw, na akusado, if nag-apply ka for probation, automatically, parang ina-admit mo na yung judgment sa'yo ay totoo and it becomes final. Exceptions, pag in death penalty cases are excluded from this rule. This is because yung death penalty kasi require a higher level of review and scrutiny before they become final. So, tsaka yung judgment of acquittal becomes final immediately after promulgation and cannot be recalled for correction or amendment. So, when does the trial court lose jurisdiction over the judgment? Even before the lapse of 15 days, pag si accused or si defendant voluntarily submits to the execution of judgment, pag si accused perfects his appeal, when the accused withdraw his appeal, or when the accused expressly waives in writing his right to appeal, then the accused is filed for a petition for probation. So, under this section, it provides a safeguard for the accused before a judgment become final and unchangeable. It allows the accused a chance to rectify any errors or injustice that may have occurred during the trial, such as incorrect application of law, the recovery of new evidence that could affect the outcome. So, for example, if the court made a mistake in interpreting the law, or if the accused can present new evidence showing that they should not be convicted, they can request a modification or set aside of the judgment before it becomes final. However, if the convicted person does not exercise their right to appeal or challenge the judgment within the prescribed period, the judgment becomes final and they lose the opportunity to modify it. So, iba pa rin siya sa motion for new trial. Next is entry of judgment. After the judgment has become final, it shall be entered in accordance with Rule 36. Section 9, existing provision governing ang section 8 hanggang after the judgment becomes final, it should be entered in accordance with Rule 36. So, ano ba yung sinasabi dito? Once a judgment becomes final, it must be officially entered in the court's record. The entry must done with accordance with Rule 36, which govern how judgments are recorded and documented. So, judgment becomes final lang when the judgment has bounced through the appeal period, it is served, or when the accused waives the right to appeal or applies for probation, then magiging final na yun. Then, yung entry of judgment natin must be formally entered in the court's record. This is a procedural step to ensure that the decision is officially documented and acknowledged by the court. So, yun. How is an entry of judgment be made? First is by recording the judgment or order in the book of entries of judgment. Dapat yung record natin contains the depositive portion of the judgment be signed by the clerk with a certificate that such judgment has become final and executory. So, meron tayong exception. The execution of final judgment is the culmination of a lawsuit, making the end of legal proceeding. Halimbawa, once yung judgment is final, it becomes immutable and executory, meaning it cannot be changed, amended, or reversed by the court. This finality is crucial to maintain the certainty in the legal system and ensures that the disputes are resolved without ongoing litigation. However, meron tayong exception to the rule of immutability. So, ano yun? First is correction of clerical errors. So, ano ba yun? These errors that do not affect the substance of the judgment but merely reflects mistake in writing such as miscalculation or typographical errors. These errors can be corrected without altering the judgment itself. So, exception siya for immutability of final judgment. Next is NOC pro tonc entries. NU-NC pro PU-NC entries. Dito naman, it refers to the correction or addition made to the record of judgment that have no substantive impact on the case. They are made to reflect accurately the decision that was actually made even if it's not previously recorded correctly. So, yon, isa din siya sa exception. Then, void judgment. If the judgment is found to be void, for example, yung si court pala is lack of jurisdiction, it may be set aside even after it has become final. Then, unjust or inequitable execution. Pero napaka-rare lang nito mangyari, class. If the circumstances change after the judgment becomes final, making its enforcement unjust or inequitable, the court may reconsider it. So, example natin sa correction of clerical errors. Suppose, sabihin na natin yung judgment states that the defendant must pay a fine of 100,000, but the correct amount is 10,000 only. Due to a clerical mistake, the court can correct these errors even after the judgment has become final, as it does not change the substance of the case. So, sa void judgment, halimbawa, si court nag-issue siya ng judgment sa case where it lacked jurisdiction. So, the judgment may be void and can be set aside even if it is already final. So, unjust or unequitable execution. Yung judgment natin has been executed. For instance, a person has been ordered to pay a fine or perform such an act, but new evidence arises showing that the enforcing the judgment would lead to a severe injustice. Halimbawa is, yung person pa lang yun is unable na makapagbayad due to the unforeseen circumstances. Ngayon, si court pwede niyang i-reconsider yung execution. Then, section, so, after the entry of judgment, magkakameron tayo ng mitimus order. A mitimus order is a process issued by the court after conviction to carry out the final judgment. Halimbawa, commanding a prison warden to hold the accused in accordance with the terms of the judgment. Dapat, it shall be stayed during the pendency of the motion for rehearing or reconsideration. Yun yung mitimus order. Section 9. Eto na. Sorry na. Section 9, existing provision governing suspension of sentence, probation, and parole not affected by this rule. Sinasabi lang dito sa Section 9, yung mga exception for suspension of sentence of youthful offender. So, dito, papasok yung existing provision natin governing sa suspension ng sentence, yung probation at parole. So, under Section 9, it only clarifies that the provision in the law regarding the suspension of sentence, probation, and parole remain unchanged by the rules on judgment process. Sa suspension of sentence, it only allows a judge to delay or suspend the execution of sentence under certain condition. Often, nangyayari to sa cases kung saan yung dependent natin is nag-show ng good behavior or agrees to participate in rehabilitation program. While dun sa probation, syempre, it is a legal arrangement with the convicted person is allowed to serve their sentence outside of jail under supervision instead of being incarcerated. Then, sa parole, allows a person who served a part of their prison sentence to be released early under the condition of good behavior before completing the full term. So, yung Section 9 kasi natin, it protects the existing alternative penalties like nung mga nabanggit ko kanina, making sure that these options remain unaffected by the change in judgment procedure. So, dito, sa Section 9, syempre, papasok yung exception natin for suspension of sentence of youthful offender. First is, dapat yung offender has enjoyed previous suspension of sentence. Then second, yung offender is convicted of crime punishable by death or life imprisonment. Then, offender is convicted by military tribunal. Then, offender is already at age at the time of sentencing even if he was a minor at the time of the commission. So, doon, it is a ground for exception for suspension of sentence. Ano pa? Grant of probation. According to PD 963, the court may, after it shall have convicted and sentenced a defendant, suspend the execution of said sentence and place the defendant on probation for such period and upon such terms and condition as may deem it best. So, yung probation natin may be guaranteed whether the sentence impose a term of imprisonment or a fine only. An application for probation shall be filed within the trial court with a notice to the appellate court if an appeal has been taken for the sentence of conviction. Yung filing natin for application shall be deemed a waiver na yun of the right to appeal or to automatic withdrawal of pending appeal. So, yung order of granting or denying probation shall not be appealable. So, alam nyo na naman yung mga disqualified for probation. Okay, when the court should deny probation. So, if the offender is need of treatment that can be provided most effectively by his commitment to an institution, meron and juries that the offender will commit another crime during the period of probation, then when the probation will depreciate the seriousness of the crime. So, parole naman natin, alam na naman natin na isa siyang conditional release of an offender from penal or correctional institution after he has served the minimum period of his prison sentence under the continued custody of the state under condition that permit his reincarceration if he violates the condition of his release. So, ano pang dapat natin malaman? Yun lang for judgment. Then, lilipat tayo ng new trial or reconsideration.